All right, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to South Florida's Comedy Calendar, guys. We are coming to you live, as we do every single week, from the community newspapers here in South Miami in their Black studio. My name is Sebastian Alvarez. I'm going to be your host, as I am every single week here on the show. And I am joined, as I am every single week, by my good friend and co-host, Art Roach. How are we doing today, Art?
Sebastian, I'm doing pretty well, man. Last week was an amazing week of comedy here in South Florida. But I did learn something new. Apparently, if you lose a baby's urn here in Miami, the sound can be heard from St. Louis all the way to Austin.
Interesting. That is a loud sound, apparently. A shot heard around the world, as historians would say. But last week, we actually had a really, really awesome week of comedy that we're going to be recapping almost the entire week, really, from what we had going on, because Manny was packed out last week. First off, we started on Wednesday over at the Miami Improv. We had Have Nots. We had a bunch of our friends going up on there. We had Dom go up on there, Manny Garavito, Ben Smith. Mike Dabba was also on that show. That's right.
I missed his set for that show, but next time he's in town, I'm not gonna miss it. I'll be there for sure.
Absolutely. It was a really fun show. I think everybody who went had a great time. Everyone who performed did really good. I've already seen a bunch of clips. I believe Chris and Rob was also on the show.
That's right.
And they've been posting, like Ben had a clip posted, Chris had a clip posted. I think Manny already also had a clip posted. So it clearly was a good show because they got some great content out of it. I've liked all of it. Super fan. That was Have Nots at the Miami Improv last Wednesday. We also had Thursday through Saturday at the Miami Improv, Brian Callen, who came through and did an amazing set of shows. I mean, I love Brian Callen. Since he's been coming to the Improv, since I've worked there, he's always been a stand-up guy. He's always been super cool. And this weekend, he came with a bunch of bangers. So funny, so funny. Packed the place out. Really, really good vibes this weekend at the Miami Improv. I'm sorry if you missed it. Him or Harlan Williams, who was also at Dania Beach. And we had Dom P., the guy who runs Have Nots, actually opening for Harlan over there. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Dom was over there doing his thing as well with Harlan Williams. So you got a good vibe of Comedy Calendar inserted in everywhere.
I gotta hit Dom up because Harlan Williams is one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Yeah, he said, from what it said on the social media post, he was super nice. They had a great experience. Like, I love to hear that about comics, especially guys like Harlan. They're at that level.
Well, and also one thing, guys, I try to keep up to date on everything going on in South Florida comedy. But if you do something dope, send it to me and we will shout it out the next week. I mean, that's cool.
Absolutely. We also had on Saturday over at the Miami Improv, El Caballo come through and do a matinee show. That was, again, another banger. Similar to what he's done in the past with these matinee shows, had a similar lineup, but basically just replaced, instead of Gene Harding, he got Ricky Cruz. So, I mean, El Caballo has resources available to him, because you're replacing Gene Harding for Ricky Cruz is pretty good.
At last week's show, we had Ellie as our guest. Yeah. She talked about doing the show. She was there. She hosted.
Chris from Drivers are surrounded too.
And they absolutely killed. Everything. They murdered. And I think the next one will be in about 2 or 3 months. I already talked to El Caballo, and we don't have it fixed in yet, but he will be invited to be joining us that week to be on the podcast. So fingers crossed that we can make that happen. But big shout out to El Caballo. He killed it.
I love that. We also had Vice City Comedy Festival going on all last week in a bunch of different spots. That was Tarek and Allison, the guests that we had on last week, that talked a little bit about the festival they were putting on. It went down last week and it was awesome. They had all their shows, had people at it. All the comics came out. Everybody did super well. I'm really looking forward to the content that comes out from the shows and from all the stuff that has happened, because it's just really good. And looking forward also to next year being able to get more involved and hopefully adding a few more Miami elements to that the festival.
Well, amen. I mean, if anyone has dope clips from their sets at Vice City, send it to us. We'll do a recap next week. I'd love to see it. We unfortunately were really busy last week, all week. I wasn't able to make it out to any of those shows, but I heard really good things. So if anyone has clips, send them my way. If you want us to show it out here, we'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we can't look over last week without recapping the banger and the headline of the weekend that happened on Monday and Tuesday, which was Louie CK over at the Miami Improv, guys. I mean, trying out new material. It was amazing watching 4 different sets of him trying out new things, testing things out. Me and you were both able to kind of catch adjustments that he made, catch differences that he did throughout his sets. And we had a lot of the comics come out from South Florida. They were there watching the shows. They were there enjoying the shows. I saw a lot of you guys out there. So if you were able to catch Louie CK, congratulations. But I will say, we are hoping to have him back at some point. Amen. You know, he loved the club, loved Miami. You guys came out and everybody respected the phone policy. We didn't actually lock up anybody's phones, but we didn't have to tell anybody all weekend to put their phone away, because everyone was so locked in. Everybody was so engaged. Everybody was having such a good time. It really wasn't even an issue. And that's a statement in this city that Louie was able to capture these people. Absolutely. Every show. He did 4 shows and he killed every single one with his material. one thing that I can say about it was if you were a fan of Louie's and you came out to watch that show, you got Louie.
Yeah.
He has not changed.
Yeah.
Nothing is different. He is just as dark. He's just as hilarious. He's doing the same structures, and not in a bad way, but it was so refreshing to see him just be himself live. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you went for, that's what you got. And I think all the comics and all the people who came out to the shows can reiterate that sentiment as well.
Hey, man, I mean, I think the material was way above where I expected it. You know, like the topics he would hit were very, very real. And it you know, it's him. It's him talking about his life and the things that have happened. So really, really cool. Big shout out. You know, I think Louie CK is my favorite comedian all around. So I was super happy to see him, and I can't wait till he comes back, man. The guy's a fucking master.
We actually have a video here that we put together because obviously we had a former guest of the show host and open for Louie for every single show, and that's Ricky Cruz, man. And it was so awesome watching him just go up there and destroy that opening set each night, each show. Everybody loved it. You know, it was super cool. Like, if anybody, and I've heard this reiterated from a bunch of comics down here in South Florida, if anybody was going to open for Louie,
right,
that represented Miami, it was going to be Ricky Cruz.
That's exactly what I thought too. Like,
yeah,
if we were going to put anyone up there to represent, so that Louie leaves Miami talking about something, I would nominate Ricky Cruz as well. You know, he's dumb.
Couldn't have booked it better myself.
Yeah,
and we actually have a quick video here from Ricky.
Not here at Miami Improv. Louie CK in Miami? Are you kidding, bro? Fantastic, dude. He murdered it. Great on the feature act. Murdered it. I was just happy to be on this show. I had fun with my sets. You know, working with somebody like Louie is like, you know, I think you appreciate. That's a dream, dude. You know, your whole career, you're watching him, you're doing his thing, looking up to him, and to share the stage with him for a couple nights, only get better, man. And I'm looking forward to getting the comedy calendar. I love those dudes. I can't wait to have me back.
There you go. Ricky Cruz giving us a little shout out, talking about Louie, man. I mean, it was great just having him at the club. Obviously, for each one of those shows, just hanging out. You know, we love having Ricky over there, but man, it was really good seeing him just destroy those shows. Same with Louie, same with all the guys he had opening for him. Those other comics he brought to feature as well, they all did super well. So I mean, it was a great show.
It was super entertaining.
Hopefully, it's not the last time Louie comes through to the Miami Improv, and if he ever does, you guys know you're gonna find out about it right here on the comedy calendar before anywhere else. So make sure you stay tuned in. Make sure you always watch our clips. Keep that notification bell ring, because you never know when something like that happens. And anybody who was watching the show, I had a bunch of people that came out to me and were like, hey, I actually was able to get tickets because I was watching Comedy Calendar. I was able, and anybody who didn't get tickets and then reached out to me and was like, hey, is there any way? I'm like, should have been watching Comedy Calendar. Should have been on the show.
Well, and I didn't know until the day of the show, but the Comedy Calendar episode came out before even Louie announced he was doing the dates. So we were literally at first place.
So before Louie announced it, right, but it was already on our website. So the tickets were already open to the public for sale. He hadn't announced it yet. Right. He hadn't been marketing it yet. But once we saw the okay that is publicly on sale on the website, you guys were the first person to find out.
Exactly.
First people to find out, that is. And same when we added those shows, when we added that 9:30 show, we let you guys know, hey, we warned you, hey, there may be more shows added because of how quickly it sold out. And then when it did come live, we let you guys know. So we're always trying to keep you guys up to date with the most pertinent information that you guys need. That's why you got to follow the Comedy Calendar, guys.
Hey, man.
You got to follow the Comedy.
And last quick shout out. So we obviously couldn't take pictures or film during the set because everything was locked up. But we did have Dark Vision there on, you know, in the building. He couldn't film anything inside. He couldn't take pictures inside. But he's the one that filmed this video with Ricky. So really big shout out to Dark Vision. Thank you for being there, my brother.
So good. So good. Love Dart. Love Dan. Moving on, though, we had another recap from the Sunday show over at the Miami Improv. Brian Callen did Thursday through Saturday, so we had another person come through, and actually, Art, you were able to do a little set on that show. So can you give us a little bit of a recap what went down and who was there?
Yeah, this Sunday we had Cactus Tate over at the Miami Improv. She's a young female comedian. She's been killing it online. I mean, her TikTok is ridiculous. Multiple people that work at the Improv are fans of her. We're already following her. We're super excited to know she was coming. When I met her, she actually came for the show the night before. So I met her and Bobby J. Cox, her opener.
Cool.
And they've been traveling the whole country. They're kind of doing a tour. And I met them the night before. We got to hang out for a little bit. The next day during the show, I'm helping them sell merch. And I was actually able to get on and do 5 minutes right after Ellie. So Eddie Rodriguez hosted the night again.
As you can see there, right in the picture.
And I was able to do a quick little 5 minutes after I sat everybody down. So it's very, very good. Thank you so much for the improv. Thank you so much, Cactus Tate and Bobby J. Cox, for letting that happen. But they killed the night, man. I mean, she knows her fans. She hits topics that are, you know, there's no limit. Like from dirty to, intrusive thoughts to all kinds of things. Her crowd work, her reaction to the crowd was amazing. Can't thank them enough. They're on their way to Atlanta for a show on the 26th. So I'll be keeping track of what they're doing going forward. And when they come back to South Florida, which I'm anticipating will be soon, they'll be selling out weekends. And Bobby J. Cox, who's the opener, man, he's going to be headlining very, very soon.
Love that. I love to hear that. Good stuff. Getting on that show, doing a little time over at the Improv on a Sunday. Can't complain about that ever.
God's work, man.
God's work, brother. But moving on from the recap portion of the show, we're going to go into the calendar and what is happening this week in South Florida comedy. And we start off on Monday. We got a late night show. It really doesn't happen on Monday. It happens on Tuesday every night.
Yeah.
Every single week. This show that we, as comics, we refer to as a Monday night show has never once happened on a Monday night, ever.
Not even started.
Never even started on a Monday night. It always starts Tuesday at 12:07 because we are over at 7 C's on Monday, guys. That's run by our good friend Mike Dow. That is a cash-only bar over on Red Road that is right outside the Gables. It is such a hit. Like, it's a historical bar, really, in Miami. I mean, you talk about it, and people of all ages that live in the city know about that place or have been there once or twice. So it's really good. Our girl Steph is going to be behind the bar out there, so she always does a great job of keeping everybody hydrated and having a good time. I believe Frank will also be cooking up some burgers outside of 7 C's. So if you ever go to 7 C's on a Monday, you can get some of the best burgers in town with Frank, man.
Freshly made, right down the spot.
Freshly made. All of the ingredients are purchased that day for the cook. He only gets the amount of burgers that he thinks he's going to sell that night. So it is exclusive, guys. It was a McDonald's. He doesn't just have as many, infinite burgers. So you want to get there kind of early and get your burger quick and get it made so that before he runs out, because he runs out every single Monday. Yeah. I don't think he's ever left a Monday with anything in his ingredients.
He cooks until he's done and then he leaves.
Exactly. And he leaves early.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, guys, that 7 C's on a Monday is always a super, super vibe. We have the show going on inside. Dabba sometimes brings in a little bit of variety style where he brings in kind of like a late night desk.
Yep.
And after you do your set, you kind of sit down and you do a late night interview, kind of like how the old Carson interviews would go and all that stuff. So super cool. And I love whenever Dabba brings that extra added element, but it's always anytime, no matter what, a fun time over at 7 C's on a Tuesday night. Tuesday morning. That is. It's a Tuesday morning room, really.
Yeah.
Early Tuesday morning.
It's a late night Monday show.
It's a Tuesday morning room. Come out to 7 C's Tuesday morning at 12:07 a.m. Anyway, guys, we'll be on the Tuesday, though, over at the Miami Improv. We have a fundraiser happening, and that's Comedy for a Cause for children entering foster care. Guys, this show is... We love seeing shows like this. Any shows that involve charity, any shows that involve raising money for people, any shows that involve a good cause on top of just comedy is always something that we should support down here in South Florida. They've raised almost $20,000 of their $25,000 goal for this event and for this raising push that they're doing. And I believe all the proceeds from this show are going to be going as well
directly toward the children. Exactly. And that's, just to be clear, that's to help the kids that are entering foster care system. Oftentimes, they have nothing, get just the basic supplies, clothing, bedding, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And I had a soft spot for this organization because one of the first shows I ever hosted, they actually sponsored at the Improv. They actually sponsored it. So right before I went up, I had like a little spiel that I had to read for them. And really cool organization. I mean, they have a bunch of volunteers that really do amazing work. So glad to see that they're supporting comedy. Glad to see that it's not only in Miami Improv, but also at Dania, they're doing their thing.
I love it.
And good luck on hitting that goal. I hope they hit it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I mean, everybody, we go out and support comedy fans out there, comedy calendar fans. That's one of the things that we always love bringing up here. Anytime there's, any kind, and then the Improv does a lot of charity events as well. So it's something that they're directly involved in and they love to do and support and blast out. So always here on the comedy calendar, we're going to be giving that a little love and pushing you guys toward that. But moving on to Wednesday, though, over at the Miami Improv, guys, we have the New Faces of Comedy, baby. One of my favorite shows that we do every single month over at the Improv. That is run by our friend Ellie Rodriguez, who was at El Caballo this weekend, who was our guest last week, and who also was hosting for Art on Sunday. She's going to be running the New Faces of Comedy. If you're a comic and you'd like to sign up, you go online to newfacesfl@gmail.com. I'm not sure if there's any slots available for this month specifically, but if you reach out and there aren't any, they'll book you for the next one. So by all means, if you're a comic and you want to perform, remember, it is a 10-person bringer show. So you got to bring 10 people. They enter for free when they say your name, and they must say your name so they get counted towards you. It's a really, really fun show, guys. There's always at least 150, 200 people there to do the actual show. And it's one of the rare times that you as a comic don't have to get booked and you're able to perform on the Improv stage with sometimes crowds that are better than some of the actual shows that pull up. Because those crowds come out and they're hyped. They're excited. They're ready to see their friends. It's a Wednesday night.
Some of the best crowds.
Yeah, some of the best crowds are that New Face crowd. And as long as you guys as comedians do your jobs and bring out those people, guys, it is literally never not a fun time.
A big shout out, like Ellie last week, and we have a clip now on Instagram, so definitely check it out, where she talks about some of the benefits, some of the mindset behind. I asked her, like, is this just for new comics, basically?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, if you want to do it for the first time, sure, it's great. But for those guys that have been doing it for a while, you should be able to bring 10 people to the Improv.
Yeah.
That's the goal as comedians, is to bring people to the comedy club, So even if you're kind of a veteran comedian, apply for these new faces, do it. As Ellie said, it gets you seen at the Improv. Management gets a chance to see you. Everyone gets a chance to see you. I'll be performing this on the 26th. So I need 10 people to show up for me. So if you show up, say, all right, right to the door, I'm going to be trying, I'm going to try to get on stage. So definitely, I'm not going to miss any of them this year. Every single new faces, I'll be there. Come out. And I'm recommending every single comedian in South Florida apply and come out and do your thing.
Absolutely, guys. New Faces is one of those rite of passages, I feel like, in Miami comedy. If you're a new comic or you're somebody who's been in the game and hasn't done it, do it again. Try it out and try and bring as many people as possible.
Right.
10 is the minimum, but you bring more than 10 people. You bring a couple more. Not only are you getting a better spot on the lineup, but you're also going to get noticed by management because they do report all those numbers back to the people that run the Improv and the people who book the Improv. They see who's actually bringing people. And there's definitely been times in the past where someone's brought 50 to 60 to 70 people and they've gotten attention from the Improv and they've been like, yo, you can do that on this day. What can you do with a little bit of push? What can you do with this? And then those are all opportunities, but you got to put in the work. Yeah. You got to bring 50, 60 people to.
And I'll say that's literally
the baseline job.
The baseline, like when Ellie said it last week, I'll point back to that clip. You got to be funny. That's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
And if you can bring the people out and you care that night, that's literally how you get offered a night at the Improv. You know what I mean? Like that's the recipe. If you got the goods on both sides,
it just gives you an opportunity to prove that. It gives you a concrete, calculated way of proving that you can bring people out to the Improv.
And Danny's there to film it, so you can walk away with a film.
Of course. And this is going to be the easiest time to bring people to the Improv as well because they're free tickets. Yeah. They just have to come. They just have to show up and say your name. So guys, definitely please sign up for that New Faces, regardless. And again,
if you come this one, they say, all right, Roach, you're in for free. I need the 10 people.
There you go. But also remember, guys, if you are coming out there, Dan, filming, recording, taking pictures, so you're going to get that content from what you've done on stage sent to you. If you want him to capture that, you can speak to either Art or Dan at the show, and they can kind of give you the packages and what entails getting all of that content sent to you guys, because that is always paramount, is content, guys. I unfortunately will not be at the Improv on Wednesday for the New Faces. I might shoot over after, depending on how time works, but I will be doing Street Talk Comedy, guys. That is going to be on Wednesday, and that's ran by our good friends Carlos Hernandez and Max Menikoff. Carlos, obviously, we talked about him last week.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, we talked about him last week on the show because he was doing that show with Neri. And he is one of my my good friends down here in South Florida when it comes to comedy. I've worked with him on a few things before. We've done a few shows together. I couldn't be happier with how this Street Talk Comedy show has really come about, because every single one that him and Max have done has been packed out. Every single one, they're selling tickets. Every single one is a great vibe. So big shout out to them and what they've kind of built. They're both in New York most of the time. They fly in for these shows to Miami, and just hats off to both of them for that kind of dedication and commitment to putting on a show that is really showcasing a lot of South Florida talent. They book a lot of Miami guys. They're not like flying people in from New York to be on this. This is a show with Miami comics, and a lot of guys have gotten a lot of great opportunities. I know Paco's helping them as well run it. Like he's checking people in. He's so they're giving comics down here opportunities through this show.
I remember you telling me about this show. I guess I didn't put two and two together until like this very moment. But man, big shout out to these guys, man, bringing that high quality, high level stuff here to Miami, South Florida, and they don't really have to channel back, right? They're in New York, they're already in comedy mecca. But to come back to do this and put the work up for us,
down.
Exactly.
It's really hats off to them, guys. Hopefully we get an interview with Carlos soon. We're gonna get him, maybe Max, in on the show to talk a little bit about it, to give you guys a more perspective on kind of how it came about, what it's going. Because when I was talking to him, one of the things I mentioned to him, and something that we've spoken about on the show before, is that us as producers, we gotta be more exclusive with the rooms that we run, and more exclusive with the opportunities that we've taken. I mean, we've said this with Tarek and Allison. We said it with Ellie. We said it with a few different people already that are producers, about how the quality of shows that we're going to be spending our time and invested into need to be some that look more along the lines of a Street Talk, of berries, like what we recently did with Cactus Tate Comedy. These different rooms that are opening up now that are from the beginning put together with a plan on, we're going to have people here. We're gonna have good sound. We're gonna have good lighting. We're gonna book good lineups. Like those.
The way I was thinking about it,
important.
and the way I was thinking about it is like they're high value rooms, high value venues with high value acts. You know what I mean? That can bring in the high value customers that we want to drive towards us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our good friend Oscar out. He was out in South Miami recently doing the Exhale Lounge show as well. That thing was packed out. Had a bunch of Max Medikov actually performed on that as well.
Nice.
So it was really cool seeing kind of the shows that are popping up and the quality that they are being done at is really good, and something that I personally love to see and want to see more of in South Florida. And I think we're kind of maturing in a sense as a community. You know, these are kind of the more like the smoke shop show that we're running now, that DCC is running over on Fridays with Adrian Hernandez is running that show. Grove Smokes. It's a great show. Yeah. It's a new show. It's something that hasn't been happening for too long, and they're really good. So
like in that show, for example, we had a couple of New York comedians that heard about it, came down, performed a really good job. So I love to see a lot of like, you know, Carter's obviously coming back from New York and doing this thing here. Dean coming back from LA and doing shows here. So it shows that like there's enough value here that they come back and they put their work in. So that's really dope to see.
Sure. I love that. Moving on though to Thursday, we have a show in Coconut Grove. It is the show of all shows in the week of South Florida comedy, guys. The one that we all look forward to, obviously, and that is Taurus over in Coconut Grove. Guys, every single week you can catch most of Miami's comics settling in at the Taurus, guys. And it is kind of gone to another level recently with their new menu that they've installed, guys, because one of the reasons now that I go to Taurus every single week is for the new food that they have on the menu, guys. It is delicious. I recommend looking. Okay, that is the fried cheese is amazing. They're Philly, really, really good. I mean,
so it's actually a Filipino Cuban fusion cuisine.
There you go.
So it's like their Philly cheesesteak. It's a Philly cheesesteak, but it tastes special. Like everything is like what you think and a little bit more. So it's really, really dope. I had the fish steak last week. It was amazing.
It's really good, and it's what that place was missing. You know, they had food and it was good food, but this is like great. Like this is something like I will come out and specifically order the food. Like I won't eat because I know, I'm going to Taurus. I want to get something from there. So big hats off to them and
a lot of staff. Last week I actually met a lot of people that were at the Food and Wine Festival that were in town for food, that had heard about them opening, and they were there to visit. They came just for the food.
Wow.
And stay for the comedy. So that's amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love to see that. And it's one of the reasons why we love Taurus so much is because they're always doing the most to curate an amazing experience for us as comics. I mean, it's been going on for 10 years and we still love going out there every Thursday.
And I'm obviously very biased, right? I'm one of the hosts. I host the open mic session. Last week I got to host the whole night, which was dope. But usually I host just the open mic. And just for everyone who's interested in signing up, we do the list in person now. Just show up. The paper will be there. Just because I've been getting there a little bit later. But the surefire way, if you ever want to go up first on the list, is super easy. Just without saying anything, Zell me $15 to $20.
Perfect.
And then you'll go up right up first on the list.
Love that. I love that. That's an easy sell.
Yeah.
That's an easy sell.
You choose 15 or 20, whatever.
Right. How much do you value your time?
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's really up to you as a comedian at that point. Invest in yourself, guys.
There's other ways, but money is the easiest.
Invest in yourself, guys. Invest in yourself. Anyway, moving on to Friday, though, we have a really cool show happening over at the Villain Theater, guys, and that is being ran by our good friend Thomas LaMountain, guys, and that's the Lord of Laughs, baby. We actually have a quick video that Thomas sent us that we're going to play right here really quick.
I wouldn't have shot the dog, I would have shot myself.
You don't eat paper, right? Sorry about my mail about black business owners, my bad.
Anyone else discovering sexuality that way? He's a good brother. I'm a good boy.
Did people about us anywhere? Garlic big stuff in between stuff. You guys right here? We wrote this? Right about and my head and face medicine. I said I'm trying to go fuck myself. Well, I'm just a kid ringing the bell. I got it.
I did that too, bitch. Shut up.
It's my fault. Is there a dog here? Turn on music too. What the fuck?
My husband's here. I can't hear that.
I also want to be that guy.
It's the other speed.
I can't let it go. Is this a competition of that class?
And here you go, guys. And so if you saw from the clip there, it's a game show. It's an interactive game show. LaMountain's going to be hosting. He brings in comics who are going to be kind of competing in this style. So
is it the first one they're doing?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's the first one because we do have a video
True.
that we just played.
That's right. You're right.
So I'm gonna go with that's not AI generated, and they had done one before.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's logic. So.
Yeah, there you go.
But I will say, so big shout out. Taylor's gonna be on it. Thomas Lamont and Victoria will be on it, and Brian G. He's been blowing up.
Love that. That's a fantastic lineup, guys. I don't know how what the matchups are necessarily who's going to be going up against each other, but it is always a good time out there at the Villian on a Friday, a Thursday, a Saturday. They always do something variety. They always do something cool. They always try out something new. So big shout out to Lamont and on all the things that he's doing out there with the Villian Theater. He's always putting on shows. He's always doing good stuff. So big shout out to him. He actually was also recently like in a TV show or some kind of like variety show that I saw. Like the kid's killing it, man.
Like on proper TV?
Maybe on like internet TV.
Okay,
that I don't know, but I did see some clips and I saw his face and I was like, hey, I felt like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There he is. But no, big shout out to those guys and the shows that they're doing. They're doing a great job.
That's what I'll say. Villian Theater, obviously they do amazing shows. Like we're pretty bad guys, right? So like, feel free to hit us up and book us. I mean, we can ask for days off at the Improv. You know?
For sure.
Love to be on one of these shows that they do.
Yeah, you're quite the villain yourself, Bart.
Yeah,
and
listen, I can say on my resume, I've done dirt. I mean, yeah, probably worse than any of them.
Of course. No, that's for sure. But moving on to the weekend that we got over at the Miami Improv, guys, we got Friday to Sunday. This is going to be a really, really fun weekend at the Improv, and I highly recommend you guys get tickets right now because over in Miami, we got Tony Baker, guys. Tony Baker. If you haven't seen him perform before, you haven't seen his social media, you're missing out. The guy is hilarious. There's a lot of great impressions. There's a lot of great voiceovers. He does like where he'll take a viral clip and he'll kind of commentate over the clip, or he'll do the voices of like there's a cat being chased by a bird or something. He'll do both voices.
I had seen that before. That's where I heard him. Okay.
He's super funny, and he's one of my favorite comics who comes through the Improv. He's come multiple times. I've seen him a few times already, and every time it's really, really funny.
Well, but he's doing 5 shows this weekend.
Yeah,
so it shows the guy's got the goods. In my research, I couldn't remember, the name sounded familiar, so in my research, I went back and saw some of his clips. The biggest thing that stood up to me is that he has a special, it's basically called Stand Up on the Spot.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's just starting, he goes, and then the audience members actually shout things out, and then he takes it and he goes and he riffs off those things.
That's cool.
And the guy seems to have endless jokes, man. I mean, literally, they were throwing the most random stuff out, and the way he was taking it was amazing. So I really enjoyed it. They delayed my research for the show a little bit because I actually watched the whole thing. But a big shout out. I can't wait, actor, comedian. Can't wait till he's here this weekend when I meet him and say what's up.
He was on this like roast or like this comedy channel that was doing like variety things, and they used to do like roasts where they would get a bunch of comedians and they would like sit in the classroom. I forget exactly what it's called, but like each comedian would go up and kind of roast the people in the classroom. And he was always one of the best people that would just go up and just rip people. And it was creative, it was quick, it was fun. Like, I mean, Tony is just one of the funniest guys that is doing comedy around the country right now. And I highly recommend you guys getting some tickets. Now, if you don't want to pay for tickets, that's where Comedy Calendar comes in, because we are giving away 4 tickets to his Friday 10:30 show, or his late show. I believe it may be at 9. I'm not exactly sure exactly what time. You will know once we send you the tickets, guys. But if you want to enter that giveaway, all you have to do is comment on this post, tag 3 of your friends who you'd want to take with you to the Miami Improv on Friday night, and also repost this clip to your story. If you do those 2 things, we'll be able to enter you into the giveaway, and you could win not just 4 tickets, but also $100 to spend at the Miami Improv on food and drinks. So that's probably not going to cover everybody's stuff, but that's going to give you a nice little spending money for when you come out to the Miami Improv to enjoy the show and kind of get some food and drinks for yourselves. And that's what the Comedy Calendar provides for you guys, right? You know what I mean? That's why, because we love you guys so much. We're setting this up.
And when you get there, as whoever the winner is, when they get there, they'll be personally checked in by your UI.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be sat by UI.
Yep.
And they'll be taken care of the whole night. And I mean, if you've seen any of the other winners that have won, they had a great time. The show was always amazing, but we made sure that all the extra stuff was done for them, and they really walked away very happy. So excited to be doing this giveaway. Thanks to Miami Improv for making it possible.
Love it, guys. Tony Baker at the Miami Improv this weekend, guys. Couldn't be happier, honestly. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Back-to-back amazing weeks of comedy, man.
Again, guys, Monday, we got 7 C's. Tuesday, over at Dania, we have the Foster Care Foundation and their charity event. That's in Dania Beach. Wednesday, we got New Faces at the Improv. Street Talk over in downtown, right across from the Heat Arena. That's at the Night Swim bar, I believe is what it's called.
Gotcha.
Up there in downtown. Then we got Thursday, Coconut Grove, we have Taurus. Friday, over at the Villain Theater, that's Lord of Laughs with Thomas the Mountain. And of course, Friday through Sunday, Miami Improv, Tony Baker. If there's anything else that we missed, guys, you can always keep up to date with anything that happens outside of this list and what we've spoken about on the spreadsheet, the comedy, Miami South Florida comedy spreadsheet that you can click. It's always linked in all of our videos. You can just go on to there and see if there's anything else that maybe is in your area or that you're interested in going to do. But that has been this week, guys, in South Florida comedy. Art, is there anything else that you want to say before we head out here?
I mean, the biggest thing, just shout out to, Cactus Tate, Bobby J. Cox, can't thank them enough. They were super fucking dope. We hung out. I mean, it's just so much insight. And then to all the Miami people that are in Austin, Bobby's he's coming out of Austin right now, and he just shouted out. We got our boy Joel Michael over there. Eric Stone actually got a mention from Bobby. But anyone else that's from Miami that's over there, sending out Miami love. I mean, everyone speaks so well when they come here about what people say about Miami there. So just big shout out to all those guys. And if you're doing dope stuff over there, send it to us. We'll shout it out in the comments.
Heck yeah, 100%. Absolutely. If you got a show for Miami Comic, you got a show out in Austin or LA or New York, this is a platform for you guys 100%. So please just send us any of those clips, videos, flyers, whatever it is, and we'll talk about it, because the thing that we're lucky with in the modern era is that our social media spreads around the world.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where the show's happening. It doesn't matter what's going on. We'll shout it out, and you can take that clip and use it for yourselves. So guys, that's what this is all about. That's what the comedy calendar was created for. So to anybody out there in South Florida, obviously this is your invitation. We've invited you before, but this is your invitation to keep sending us all your stuff, keep sending us your flyers, keep sending us the shows that you're doing, so that we can promote it for you guys and we can make this scene kind of have a little microscope over it for everybody to come and look through and get an idea of what's happening down here in South Florida, guys. That has been the week in South Florida comedy, though, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, as you do every single week. And again, remember, guys, until next week, keep laughing.